Oof, that would have been close. All right, now we can get started. Welcome back to Vlogmas. Today we're talking about my top 5 favorite discs that I recommend for beginners. Before we dive in, of course, we have to ask the most important question of the day. How are you doing today, Luke? Are you having a good one? Robbie C Disc Golf, from its origin, has always been about recommending and working with beginners. I kind of think that there are definitely channels out there that are trying to help with, let's say, experienced players or advanced players. And I'm not trying to say that I don't want to work with those people, but I think that the primary focus for me, at least, has always been beginners, because hopefully as the sport continues to grow, we'll also have beginners pour in. And it takes me to that moment of when you're going to go play golf and you're like, all right, what do I need to know before I get out there and swing a club? And you pull up YouTube and you watch some beginner video about here's how you fix your slice, or here's how you do a certain number of things when you're like driving on your way to the golf course. I wanted to be that guy for new players getting into disc golf. Oh, hey Tyler, you want to come join us for a round? Sure, yeah, I'll go throw some frisbees. And then to help grow with the game as well has always been a passion of mine. But I find myself recommending discs a lot, and in my Instagram messages and most of my DMs talk about disc suggestions. We even run a podcast or the Foundation Podcast Network called In the Bag, where we do disc suggestions. And so I wanted to take you through 5 discs that I recommend quite often when it comes to disc golf overall. We're at a Humble Tree Disc Golf Course in Argo, Alabama. We're going to be playing some holes with the top 5 discs that I recommend. I kind of tried to make sure that I got a majority, or I got a variety of manufacturers presented here. And I'll go ahead and have the caveat of some honorable mentions throughout that I couldn't bring for this video, because honestly, when I get them, I just give them away. So I was lucky to have these in my hands. So we're going to play a couple holes. I'm going to introduce you to the discs as we go through. We're starting off on hole 2 here, 300 feet. This used to be hole 3 spin position. I'm starting off with the Innova Star IT. The IT is a phenomenal disc. Came out a year or 2 ago. Obviously, like this disc enough that we put our stamp on it. But what's really cool, this one in particular is 164 grams. So the beautiful part about the IT is that if you have a really fast arm, you have like Hunter, who throws rollers and big turnovers with his IT. But if you have a slower arm speed and you're using a max weight one, it can be a really easy, like sort of straight flyer for you. Fantastic first driver. Yep, there you go. As you can see, super easy. It just stands up, rides super straight. And we don't even have to give it a lot of power for it to do that, especially at 164. Fantastic frisbee. Leaving ourselves a nice like 20-footer. We're going with the putter. We have the Pure is what we brought as the recommendation. What's nice about the Pure, a lot of glide to the Pure. Super, super fun disc, very neutral, very straight, unlike the IT that I would classify as understable. I think the Pure in concept is understable, but once again, for a pure beginner, this thing could be incredibly neutral, incredibly straight flyer. We want to take a quick break from these incredible beginner discs to talk about today's video sponsor, MUDWTR. You all know that I love Diet Coke and I drink it on a regular basis. But the more I drink, the more I think about the negative side effects of it all. I've been replacing my afternoon Diet Coke for that kick of energy with MUDWTR. Now the flavor of MUDWTR can feel super unique and not something that I'd really experienced a lot, but fixing it up and putting just a little dash of honey in there makes it all the better, and I get through the rest of my afternoon without feeling the crash or the jitteriness that I have from other products. Throw in the complimentary free frother and I feel like a little barista in the afternoon. MUDWTR is a popular coffee alternative, with its most popular ingredient being the rise cacao. Now MUDWTR's secret is that it actually uses 4 different types of mushrooms so that you get a fraction of the caffeine that a cup of coffee would have, and you can still get the natural energy without having the crash or the jitteriness that coffee provides. Now what are these ingredients? You've got cacao and chai for that hint of caffeine and also a hot chocolate-like flavor. Lion's mane for focus, and I mean, how are you going to tell me you don't love a product that has lion's mane in it? It's got cordyceps to promote natural energy and both chaga and reishi to promote a healthy immune system. Plus, it's Whole30 approved, 100% USDGA, kosher. Y'all, this checks all of the boxes, and as someone who I tried Whole 30 alongside my wife, it was really tough to find that nice alternative for me for that personal boost of energy. And the best part, MUDWTR is hooking y'all up with a special discount and a special little blend. If you head over to MUDWTR.com/foundation, you're not only gonna get $20 off your subscription, you're gonna get a free frother, and you're gonna get a sample of their coconut cream and sweetener. What a time and what an opportunity. Make sure you check it out at MUDWTR.com/foundation disc golf. That's MUDWTR.com/foundation. Coming in next, we have hole 4 here. It is 235 feet, just a nice subtle turnover. We're going with the MVP Uplink here. The Uplink, if you listen in the bag, we talk about this Frisbee all the time. Flight numbers are on the screen, and what's beautiful about this is that it has easy turn to it. I think a lot of people, when you get into disc golf, focus on your form, and just like golf, you just want to power the ball. You just want to and just kill it. This is a beautiful disc that you can overpower easily, which means for a beginner, when you're trying to figure things out and you're so focused on the X step, you're doing things like that, this is great because you don't have to throw it hard, don't have to throw it with too much power. We've got some headwind coming at us, which is going to make this thing turn even more, so could be an interesting shot shape here to try to get this thing to turn all the way over, but we're going to see what we can do trying to get this uplink there. Could have started that thing way wider, but you saw once it got over there, it just never had any intention of doing anything but going out to the right, which is phenomenal. Means that you could also hyzer flip it like we did with the It on the first hole. Really great Frisbee. Now, unfortunately, we ROB, turn it over too much. I think that's the tricky part about going for this hole is you definitely bring the OB into play, but we'll see if we can make the putt. The Pure says it only has 3 glide. I fully do not believe that. This thing gets real floaty, which is nice. So let's see if we can float her uphill. Bank, saving the par. That is better than I would have expected on the turnover. So we're 1 under through 2. Now our 4th disc getting added in is the Prodigy A5. The A stands for approach. Their naming system can feel really confusing in terms of A's and M's and F's and D's and X's and things like that. But one thing you need to know is that overstable discs want to lean in the path that you throw them on. Understable discs want to go against that grain. Now in the wind, understable discs can get a lot more squirrely, but especially for beginners, having discs that when you're throwing, maybe if you're used to throwing Frisbees, you're throwing on a little bit of hyzer, which is that outside edge down. A lot of people for beginners will suggest understable discs, and we have a lot of neutral to understable things here in the bag, but the A5 is certainly not. Similar to the bump and run in golf where you're like putting with your 9-iron off the green to avoid chipping, the overstable putt and approach disc option can totally be a nice reliable disc to have in your bag. And so I like suggesting this or maybe the Envy over by Axiom as really great options to have in the bag for a newer player, because it's going to have that reliable overstable slot where it's going to lean into what you're doing, so you can just throw it out there, and especially for a right-handed player, throw it out there on the backhand, it's just going to crash in every single time, which is great. But it's not going to be so overstable that it almost makes a crutch of you have to throw differently, such as something like my precious child and the Pig. Let's see, 181 feet. We're going to throw this out on a forehand, see if we can't get it up there. Pretty uphill for this one, so got to give her a chance, give her some power. Perfect. Rested right up there. You can see we threw it out there, had the power, and we threw it, and you were like, maybe that was too straight, but at the end of its flight, it's still just going to crash down, which is what makes the A5 excellent. Coming in here. Bang, puts us 2 down overall. Feeling good. We got 1 more disc right here in the middle to introduce you to. Let's show it to you on the next hole. Last but certainly not least, we're coming in with the Origin, which is from Discmania disc. Really slept on mold. I think that a lot of people love the Origin and they throw the Origin, but then they forget about it and all the other shiny plastic that's out there. But the Origin holds tried and true. Now, what I like about the Origin, especially to round out this set of 5 discs, is that the Origin for newer players is actually going to fly pretty straight with an overstable finish most often, especially a brand new in the Neo plastic or a premium plastic rather than the base plastic is going to actually still have some fade to it, which I really like. Now, an experienced player, someone with a faster arm, is going to have this be their understable disc. This will eventually slot in as it beats into, let's say, what the Uplink does in a more experienced player's bag. But the complement, especially when you're starting, of the Origin and the Uplink is really, really good. We're gonna try to see if we can demonstrate this by throwing on a little bit of hyzer. You could see how easy that was to throw. Stood up, went a little straight, which is fine. That's one of the things where, like, as you get better and you start throwing smoother releases, even just being smooth with your form, it's gonna put spin and power into it. I'll go ahead and say, well, although it looks cool, friends don't let friends throw black discs, which is why this guy never really gets the light of day. Because as you can see, it's kind of difficult to see there. Here we go, just outside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 30, 42. We've made that look kind of effortless. The pure glide, baby, pure glide. Now, one thing that's really nice about disc golf, especially as opposed to golf, is that these discs can be used like you're seeing with the putting, where I'm throwing it for that. And you could technically putt with any of these discs. People like the putter because it doesn't have that bladed edge, makes it feel more comfortable in the hand for you to putt with, as well as these generally have a little bit more glide to them than, let's say, the drivers do, like the IT that we showed on the first hole. So because of that, people are going to putt with this. And as you notice, the putting motion looks a little different than the throwing motion, but we can still use these on the tee box and throw them off the tee, especially when we're out here trying to get aces. Let's see what we can do. Maybe a little hole-in-one action. I didn't see the barn. Would have been sick. Okay. Here we go. Nice and easy, nice and easy. So we saw that the uplink, when I threw it on that sort of, when I threw it up on the like high turnover arc, it just stayed into that the whole time. That's what we mean when we say understable discs like to go against the flight path you put it on. So traditionally we throw a right-handed backhand. The spin that you're imparting on the disc makes it want to go left, but an understable disc wants to lean against that and go right, like you saw. But you can use that to your advantage by really throwing an understable disc on some hyzer to really try to make it go left, or for lefties to make it go right. But because the disc naturally wants to go right, it makes it fly really straight. So that can be really helpful in the woods. Basket is sort of straight ahead, but we're going to try to go up the right gap here with this uplink, throw it on some hyzer, and watch as it hopefully stands up and rides really straight. Just like that. Super easy to hit gaps when you have these type of discs, the neutrals and the understables, to manipulate your angles to make scoring so much easier. I said perfect, but you saw there, we didn't really try to throw it with like a ton of power, and we actually ended up like 25 feet past the basket. Got this branch in my way, so I'm gonna have to go up and over it. Real technical play here. Yep, the birdie was never meant to be. If I can monetize his videos, I've been playing a lot of baby Rexel right now. All right, our final 2 holes. So we talked about you throw on that hyzer and really manipulate the angle, let it stand up straight. If you ever played a local event in Birmingham, you'll know that Robbie C loves island holes, and we have an island hole right here. So instead of having an understable disc that I throw on this angle and make it stand up straight, I'm gonna throw my more overstable A5, lean into that flight path, and hopefully just easily get me on the island. Or on, just really far away from the basket. Okay, disc is here, upside down, so it hit this wall. Let's see if we can make this look super casual again. Here we go. I liked it. I liked it. Tap in par headed to the last hole. And for our last hole, we're actually back to the first hole. Thought it'd be a good idea to showcase the flight. Gonna try to release these as flat as possible, give them a little height, let them do what they need to do. Showcase what we got going while we try to throw them. Driver, you've got the IT by Innova. Fantastic option for you if you're a newer player. It's definitely not gonna fly super flippy like experienced players are gonna see, but really reliable, nice, simple flight. And if you get a lighter weight one, it'll have a different flight than a heavier weight one. If you're finding the lighter weight one feels unusable, you can step up in weight. Really cool. Honorable mention is going to be the Diamond by Latitude 64. I don't own any diamonds because I give them all away when I get them, but another great alternative here. Next up, you have the Uplink by MVP. This is understable flight. If you throw it on hyzer, it's going to stand up, give you really straight options here. Don't have to throw it as hard. If you do, you're going to overpower it. So this is a nice, teach you how to throw a smooth shot disc. Honorable mention here is actually going to be, if this even feels like it's not getting what you want, step over to the Paradox. Really great option by Axiom. Another great alternative. Next up, we have the Origin. Love this disc by Discmania. As you can see, it's just simple flight, holds really straight. This disc, probably more so than most, can grow with you. Fills so many options. The Origin, people are overlooking at it. The honorable mention I'm going to say for the Origin is actually going to be the Buzz, even though they have the same flight numbers. They do fulfill different flight options, but the Origin, really good. The Buzz, obviously the most popular mid-range of all time for a reason. A5, approach disc. You can use this for an approach disc. This was my worst first thrown shot that you just saw here, but even then, it's just a reliable, overstable flight. You know what it's going to do. You throw it out there, it's going to move left if you're throwing on a right-hand backhand. It's going to move right if you're throwing on a right-hand forehand. Flip all those around if you're a lefty playing the correct way. So you can go with a ton of different alternatives. We already said the honorable mention is the Envy. Last but not least, the Pure. Shout out to my guy Ben Swam. Pure lovers everywhere. Super, super fantastic disc. Obviously, putts fantastically, but throws just as beautifully as well. You get it in base plastic, you can get it in premium plastic. Comes in a billion different plastics. I'd actually argue that this disc comes in more plastic options than any of the rest of them probably combined. So really great disc if you fall in love with the Pure. Obviously the choice of world champion MUDWTR. That's gonna wrap it up for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed top 5 beginner discs. What discs? I know there are discs that I didn't mention that you guys are like screaming at me in the comments. So let me know in the comments below. Always love for our comment section to be a resource. So if you're a newer player, welcome to the sport. Hope this video is helpful. And if it is, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you'd like to support the channel, as well as see more beginner content, as I am here to just try to help you improve your game one stroke at a time. In the meantime, hope you have a great rest of your day. Please make it fantastic for someone else too. But for now, we're gonna leave you with the birdie.